Hello and welcome to the Unofficial Film Club podcast with me, Caroline,
And me, Andrea.
where we talk about movies and just our ideas
Our
on them.
comments on
Yeah, we
it.
just love to come up with some ideas that we might think are worthwhile to share with people. I guess we'll just jump into today's topic.
Yes, I'm excited about today. We both really love this movie. We're going to be talking about Disney's Mulan today, and specifically, we're going to be focusing on masculinity and kind of, I don't know, like gender as performance, like the different ways that gender is performed in Mulan. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's the gist of it.
Okay.
Okay, well,
Get into it.
yeah, so everyone's favorite Disney movie, am I right? Am I right?
Yeah.
It
If
better
it's not
be
my
your
favorite, it's definitely like top
It's up
three.
there. Yeah, like those like charts where they have you like break it down from like two sides.
I think we both did, and I think
We did.
Mulan was the
Mulan's
winner.
yeah.
Mm.
Mhm. So, let's have a look at our notes.
Yes. I think one of the overarching themes that we wanted to focus on is the irony of Mulan's heroism. How, for a majority of the movie, whenever I mean specifically in "I'll Make a Man Out of You," like specifically how I don't know these values of manhood and being a warrior are kind of entwined, and how the whole song is about like you have to be like this and this and this and like a man, and I'm gonna make you into these fine men.
Mhm.
But obviously Mulan is a woman, and she's the one that ends up saving China at the end. So I think
Yeah.
that was kind of what we wanted to focus on specifically, but there's some other things too.
Yeah. Just in general, the kind of irony of it, it kind of
Yeah.
lends to that
Mhm.
the conversation about this like question of masculinity and like gender and stuff, but like they really put a lot of I don't know, emphasis on that like kind of at least the way I interpret it. Like
Mhm.
they put an emphasis on this like the like roles and the traditions and things
Yeah.
and like how it's I don't know,
It's
like in their
yeah.
music and stuff.
Yeah, for me, like it's so exaggerated, and it's like these strict definitions of what it is to be a man and woman that it's almost so ridiculous that it makes it really
Yeah.
obvious what they're trying to say. Like
Yeah.
Mulan is so ahead of its time, but
No.
like
But like even though it's still pretty obvious that they're like for example in like I'll Make a Man Out of You and also like in the one where she goes to the matchmaker, what's that?
Honor to Us All.
Honor to Us All.
Mm-hmm.
They're both like talking about the performative aspects of like masculinity and femininity like
Yeah.
respectively,
Mm-hmm.
but like it's so over exaggerated, but in a way it doesn't exactly feel like it. Like when you stop and think about it, you're like, wow, why is this so like cliche and stereotypical?
Mm-hmm.
But because like in our society we still so much
Mm-hmm.
like believe in that. We're like, yeah, man's got to be, as fast as a coursing river. And like and like a woman has
Get
to
me a man as fast as the coursing river.
But like you know what I'm saying? And like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
women, it's like, oh, she has to be thin and she has to be pretty, but she also has to like be a hard worker. Like there's just so many roles that we still value so much today. But then like I don't know, it's just like it's
Yeah.
ironic.
Yeah, because I
in a
think
way.
like in these songs, I mean, obviously part of them they're talking about like cultural like values and like ideals of beauty that are specific to that time period and like Chinese culture and stuff, and Confucian values and all that stuff. But like you were saying, a majority of the song though is still going into these like gender roles that we still have today. So
Yeah.
that's where it's like, yeah, part of it is exaggerated and it's kind of out of touch with us, but majority of the song is, and it's kind of pointing out to us like, look at all these gender roles and values we have today still that are
Yeah.
still ridiculous as they were then, I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting that so many values are still quite important today.
Yeah.
Like is it really, out of touch for them to be like this makes the ideal warrior. Like, you have to be, like, a
Mm-hmm.
man. You have to, like, man up and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, but that's where it's funny because, like, obviously Mulan breaks free from all of these gendered expectations,
Mm-hmm.
both for women and for, like, I guess for men, in the sense that, like, she was a warrior. She's, like, pretending to be a man and
Mm-hmm.
stuff, and how she doesn't fit into those
Mm-hmm.
roles exactly, because she's her own person who kind of, like, she's resourceful
Mm-hmm.
and doesn't have the same expectations for herself that society has for her.
Mm-hmm. I think kind of jumping from that, for me, like, I think about songs like Reflection and stuff when she's like, maybe I'm not meant to play this part. This is after, like, the matchmaking thing goes
Yeah.
horribly wrong. And she's like, I don't fit into these ideals for what a perfect woman is. I don't have, like, the mannerisms and all this stuff. I'm not an ideal woman. And she's kind of like, I don't fit that role. And she recognizes from early on that that is not the way that she can be happy or bring honor to herself or her family. So then I think that's interesting that she has this really strong need to, like, break free from these gender roles, and then being kind of forced to replace her father presents this opportunity for her. So it's interesting because she's kind of like forced into becoming a soldier and pretending to be a man and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's also like kind of what she wants. She wants this opportunity to not have to be like a perfect woman or something,
Yeah.
you know? So I think the circumstance is interesting and it really kind of works out like for her. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, it's hard to say where the line is of, like, what she wants and what she, like, has to do,
Mm-hmm.
cuz, like, I think none of her motivations are, like, fully, like, inspired by her own desire for things. Like,
Mm.
she feels like she must become a warrior. Like, she has to defend her
Mm-hmm.
father or whatever. I don't know. Like, it's like
Yeah.
her duty at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Um which is interesting in a way, how, like, there's, like, she has this sense of duty, but it's not what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, I think that's interesting too. Yeah, exactly. Because, like, according to society and the rules and how, like, the time period that she lived, like, her duty is to be a perfect wife and to, like, take care of the house and, like, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But she finds her sense of fulfillment and to kind of honor her father. And I mean, she's forced to, like you said, to kind of do it through, like, being a warrior and stuff. So, yeah, I don't know. I guess,
Yeah, it's like
yeah.
her family, like, she owes something to her family, but it's, like, not in the way that they thought she would
Yeah,
do.
exactly.
How, I don't know. But
No, it's a good
yeah.
point. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, like, how it's illegal for women to be warriors and stuff. Like, I get it. But, like, I don't know.
It
It's
adds a
just,
sense of danger to
I mean,
it.
yeah, the danger. But, like, when people find out that she was a woman, like, masquerading as a man to be a warrior, then they instantly, like, kind of turn on her and, like, ice her out, especially, like, her
Hmm.
comrades and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because I think you can mirror that with our own society in a way that, like, just because you're a woman, like, you could be, like, it's kind of an extreme example, but it's like you
Hmm.
could be doing your best,
Hmm.
and because you're a woman, it's
Yeah.
still not enough, and they're still gonna, like, have prejudices against you.
That's true, though. I mean, yeah, it is extreme, but if you take, like, Shang and Mulan, for instance, they're both doing they're kind of operating at the same level, but obviously Shang is going to, or I feel at first, because she's a woman and these are the laws and whatnot, he probably feels threatened because she is a woman and she's
Yeah.
kind of operating at the same level. So yeah, I don't
I think
know,
that's,
I think
like,
it's a
the
good point.
general idea of, like, men at the time, like, where she lived, were threatened by, like, the,
Yeah, but
well,
just like
obviously because,
thinking of being a warrior as like an occupation, like if you want to compare it
yeah,
to today, like I think that's an interesting like way to
yeah,
look at it too.
it's like part of that performative thing that women
Mm-hmm.
have to perform, not only at their best, but, like, at a man's best level
Mm-hmm.
in order to be taken as seriously. Like, she's like performing at Shang's level or even better at times.
Yeah.
And she's still like cast out.
Mm-hmm.
She has to literally save China single-handedly for them to. And even
Yeah.
then, they were still a bit like in awe, but not exactly willing to like give her the respect she deserves
Yeah.
until the emperor like
Until the
actually
emperor,
like bows
yeah.
down. They're like, oh, maybe we should like give her
Yeah.
the like.
They were still all like,
acclamation.
this is illegal, and like, what is she doing? And the emperor's like, yo, she just saved everyone.
I know.
Like,
Oh,
I think the
God.
emperor's role
I love
is
the
kind
emperor.
of interesting too. Like, I don't really have any like defined thoughts about this, but maybe we can just like talk about it. Like,
I have a thought or two about the emperor.
okay, I'm just like, I guess a random kind of question is like, does he also operate within these like gendered roles, or is he almost above that since he's like the emperor?
I
is
feel
kind of
like-
my question.
Of course, he has to operate somewhat because he's still part of their society and like
Yeah.
he's still like an authority figure. And I don't know, but it's hard to know because he's not like a really fleshed out character.
Yeah.
However, I see him as like he's like her
True progressive.
father, but like it's
yeah.
like I don't know. It's kind of like I wonder. I guess it's like kind of necessary for her to have some sort of like father figure or like this wise like figure
Mhm.
because if it wasn't for him, she would never be recognized for what she did. Even though he's basically just like her father,
Mhm.
but like in a different
Well, because he's kind
social
of like
position.
the father of China, if you want to
Yeah,
think
but
about
like
it
he
in a
just like
way, but-
reminds me of her own father. Like they
Mhm.
probably would give her the same advice.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just like interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have any defined
yeah.
thoughts. I'm just kind of wrestling with the idea that because he is kind of like obviously her father figure, like you were saying. I mean, maybe it could be that like her father still has to operate within like society's rules and stuff, and he
Yeah.
still obviously has to, I don't know, kind of subscribe to those values and whatnot.
Yeah, because of like his place on the
Yeah.
social
Whereas like
ladder
the
and everything.
emperor kind of has the privilege to play around more with that.
He can decide
know?
what is honorable and what's not.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. That is interesting because everybody operates within their designated social
Mhm.
role. Maybe Mulan's the only one who kind of like leaves it, but then again, not really because she's just kind of doing her own thing. She's like
Mhm.
not exactly like subscribing to any sort of like caste or whatever, but like everybody
Mhm.
else still fits into their like designated role.
Mhm. Yeah. I don't know.
It's like everybody does their role except Mulan. Everybody
Mhm.
else is performing exactly what they should be
Mhm.
except her. Like she's the only one who just
Yeah.
does her own thing.
And then even so, it's still not like a total breakaway from all like rules or something. She just kind of plays a different role that is not her
Yeah.
own. So like
She
yes,
like, forms her own.
yeah, because like yes,
destiny.
it is kind of a rebellion, but it's still like she's still playing like this masculine warrior role too.
Yeah.
Because you can't escape it.
Oh my god.
But yeah, I don't know if you had any more thoughts that
Yeah.
you talked about. But
I was
yeah.
kind of thinking of kind of had me thinking of another thought.
Mhm. Go for it.
Trying to remember exactly what it was. Oh my god. How like another way how Mulan kind of breaks free from her own like the
breaking
expectations.
free.
Yes. How at the end they leave it ambiguous as to whether or not Shang and Mulan have like a romantic like relationship, and obviously with like the second movie and everything
I've
like
never seen it, so we're
putting
gonna
aside-
operate.
we're gonna I don't want to acknowledge the second movie.
We're
It kind
not.
of sucks. I don't really like it. It's
Yeah.
a bit it's not very interesting, and it diminishes Mulan in a way because like Shang and Mulan like end up getting married and everything, and it's like this it's a bit
The
stereotypical
ambiguity
of like
of it is what
they
made
kind of
Mulan.
yeah,
you
like
know?
in the second movie they fit more into their stereotypical like female male like roles, especially because they're like together, or they eventually get married, but they're like
Yeah.
engaged. Anyway, I'm gonna put that aside because I think that they really didn't do her character justice, and I liked that ambiguity. Because it's like, you might be like, oh, like, it would be nice for them to be together. I think they're, like, you know, equals. Like, they match each other in wits and whatever. And, like, he's probably a worthy match. However, it's just...
It's cool to kind of... Yeah. I was just going to say...
She's the one to decide.
Yeah. All I was going to add is that it's kind of cool to think, like, yeah, maybe he's in love with her in a romantic way, or maybe he, like, respects her just, like, for what she did. Like, I don't know. The ambiguity kind of leaves it more up to thinking about those kind of things rather than just like, oh, well, obviously he's going to come around and he likes her because he's in love with her or something, you know?
Yeah. And it's interesting, too, because, I mean, like, okay, well, just to finish kind of, I guess, on that vein, like, the way they, like, wrote him it looks like he's attracted to her, like, in a romantic way, like, wants to pursue her, and like, that's obviously what, like, the family wants, and like, what Granny wants and everything.
Granny.
But like, regardless, Mulan has all the power in that situation, which is just, it's nice. It's like, she's afforded the, like, the power for once to choose,
so true.
as opposed to like in the beginning where she started and she's like with the matchmaker and everything. Now like she's the one who has like a suitor, and she's like, I'm gonna think about it.
Yeah, the ambiguity is left up to like, she can think about like, oh, like, is he worthy? Do I want him in that way? Yeah,
it's like the roles are reversed.
Yeah. Ooh.
Oh
wow.
My God.
Wow.
Who's the matchmaker now?
Oh my God.
Granny is.
Granny.
Granny's the matchmaker. She's like...
She's like, oh, get me a man like that.
Oh my God.
The comments, though. I mean, same, though.
Yeah, there's many instances of, like, comic relief. There's, like, all these characters. I love
Eddie
that.
Murphy.
I love that. I mean, Eddie Murphy is just amazing, but, like... Yeah. Not just Mushu, but, like, Mushu and Cricky. Like, can we get a shout-out for little Cricky? I love him.
Shout out to you, Cricky.
Shout out to Cricky. He's just doing his best. He survived so much. He's just an insect. Like, lest we not forget that he literally has, like, the tiniest legs.
How did he survive the snow, honestly?
Remember the snow thing? And then he, like, finds him in the snow, in the avalanche, and he, like, finds his little antenna, and then he, like, picks him up, and he's like...
His body is so small. Wouldn't he be
you
like
are
a cricket
one lucky
popsicle?
cricket.
Yeah.
I know. He, like, his antenna are sticking out of the freaking snow. Like, how did he live? How did he live that?
He's a lucky cricket.
It's destiny. Cricky has a lot to do in his life.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was... He's important. He's lucky. But in a way, that's kind of ironic, too, because you remember in the beginning how, like, Cricky's, like... he seems to be unlucky because, like, these misfortunes happen and, like, they're, like, funny situations, how, like Mulan and the matchmaker, how it's like kind of Cricky's fault. How, like, lot, like he like was like the impetus for like that whole fiasco.
For sure.
But like, was he really? He was just enjoying like a little tea bath, okay? Like he's just a freaking cricket. Can you blame him? He's a cricket. Like, honestly, it was Mulan who kind of fumbled that, and then like Granny and like. Crossing the street with Cricky. Oh my God. I mean, Cricky didn't do anything. He was just
it was Granny.
He's just a cricket.
Granny was being crazy.
Granny just put her whole life into his tiny little hands. And it was all the people around who like react
is it more
so,
that
like,
she was lucky or more that like everyone had to just like avoid her and crash everywhere?
I mean, I guess like, if you want to call that luck. But like, I don't know. In the end, maybe it's just like he has the luck. It's not really like he gives luck.
Yeah,
to
he
people.
Just is.
He is.
He survived.
A lucky cricket.
Okay. Yeah.
He doesn't share it with anybody.
Oh my God.
It's all about Cricky.
Cricky is a protagonist of Mulan. Changed my mind. Oh God.
Oh my God. Cricky is the most privileged.
Where were gender?
Yeah.
Oh, we're talking about like Shang and
Shang.
How the roles are reversed. Well, that's emblematic of how like Mulan saved his life. I mean, there are several instances,
The
you know.
reversal of roles.
She's the white knight in that case. I mean,
Yeah, yeah. And then the whole idea about like she's standing in for her father and she's portraying it's like on one hand she's standing in for her father. So that's already one level of like role change. Plus she masquerades as a man.
Yeah.
Ping. Second level. Third. I don't know. I'm coming up with things off the top of my head.
Go
But like
on. I'm following.
I don't know, like she becomes like she's like evenly matched with Shang, and like she ends up saving his life, so like that's another role
and she
reversal.
saves all of them through her like
she's
smarts and stuff, which
like,
is, you know, supposed to be a masculine
it's like
kind of value or
role
like
inception.
Role
but
yeah,
but yeah, no, it's like all about roles. It really is.
And how like Mulan is just messing everything up.
Yeah. It's like the importance of roles and breaking them down.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I think to that point, I don't know. That made me kind of think about the three guys. Gosh, what are their names?
Ling, Yao, and Chinpo.
Chinpo, yeah. I was just thinking because I guess it kind of goes to the kind of irony to say that, okay, I'm going to make a man out of you, and like just how much they don't fit that role, even though they are men. They're kind of like,
oh, okay.
You know, they're kind of like these bums. Just like, you know, I don't know. I think like make a man out of you and the whole like training the warriors. It's kind of more than like making them warriors. It's like getting them to this level of like manhood that is expected of them when really like all of them, they don't fit that either. Even as like
no, I get it.
Cis men, like they don't even match up to these ideals and stuff, you know?
Yeah, because like Shang embodies the ideal like masculine like role. I get whatever. Like I mean, like, can you think of a role more masculine than, like, a warrior?
Yeah.
And he's, like, good at it. So, like, he's like, you gotta aspire to be me. And, like, all the other people are, like, normal people.
Yeah.
But it just further, like, emphasizes this, like, unattainability of, like, this ideal role that, like, so few people can actually, like, get close to that idea. Because, like, I don't know if think of like those three guys as like the same way. Like I think of them as more like they're like exaggerated like stereotypes of men. There's like specific there's like
I agree, yeah, for sure.
And I'm sure that was like part of their character design. So it's not exactly like they're not manly. It's just they're not like in the classic sense of what a man is.
They embody kind of like the worst aspects of masculinity. Yeah,
they're just like everyman, like kind of just living life. I don't know, kind of.
Yeah, I guess it's just like you were saying, you have to use someone to exaggerate Shang's like perfection or like his attainable. You know?
Like a contrast between the concept of like men.
Yeah, but I think the point you were saying, kind of like how it isn't really attainable, because even though Shang is like you're aspiring to be me, like obviously no one else can be him. It's I don't know, it's
Shang
an unattainable
Shang.
but it's an unattainable goal, like to be like a man like that.
And then even Shang is trying to, he's always performing in order to like, first of all, to like maintain this image of manliness, and second of all, because he's always trying to like live up to it. Like his whole deal with his father.
Shang's
don't
daddy
even get me started.
Okay.
Shang's daddy issues, and then the fact that his dad like dies, it just further like creates this like drive in him to like establish his manliness, like his masculinity and his roles. And now he's like, not only am I just like I have to be like a man and a good warrior, but I have to like be a leader now because there's no one else left.
And the like scribe dude kind of like I don't
know
dude. I don't remember his name.
I don't even.
I just rewatched this, but I don't remember his name. But
y'all know
that dude,
Chifu,
yes. He kind of instills that too. He's like, well, you'll never live up to your father and stuff. And I don't know.
Chifu's a troll.
Chifu's hateful.
Chifu needs to like, I don't know. Like, it's not like you can't say that he's insecure. He's a little too secure in himself. Like, he thinks he's so good. He thinks he's got life figured out. It's like, you need to just take a step back, Chibu, because when it comes down to it, like, what does he ever do to save China?
Honestly.
He doesn't do anything.
Write stuff down, thanks.
It's amazing that he survived all of that, too. Why did he even have to... Why did they even send Chifu out with Shang's little
Because he's a scribe
squadron?
Dude. Oh.
No,
he was hanging out with them. But he reports back to the Emperor or something. I think that was what the whole thing was. He was intended. Because he's like, I'm gonna write a report that you guys suck and like stuff like that.
Oh,
I think so.
I don't remember because I remember like, or was it because like Shang was like a young guy, like a young leader, and like so they're like, we need someone to kind of babysit him.
I think so because at first he was kind of like the messenger between him and his father, like Shang and his father, I think.
The father was the general.
Yeah. But so then after that, I guess he's like kind of watching on him to see him take on this new leadership role and reports back to the emperor or something. That's
I guess.
Kind of my understanding. Otherwise, like, why is he
someone's
got
to keep tabs on Shang.
Yeah. I mean, he's just there to add that pressure, like, that further pressure. He's like...
Where's all this pressure?
I don't know. He kind of like is his father's ghost in a way. Oh
my god!
Just
Hamlet?
like a reminder. Hamlet, Shang, and his father.
Hamlet Senior.
But yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that's true. Like, Chifu kind of is just like another example of like society's pressure. On everybody because he's so like demanding and he's so like
and
disagreeable.
But then look at him. He's so like
I know
can't contribute anything and he's just like weak and
personal
doesn't do anything,
attacks on Chibu. I'm coming for him.
I mean he's hateful and I don't like him. So.
He's a hateful person.
But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, here's another thought, which is probably in a lot of people's minds when they watch Mulan, but it's interesting how Shang perceives these roles, especially when he finds out that Mulan's a woman, and it's such a pivotal scene.
Yes,
I love that they did it so well, like the music and the cinematography and oh my, it's amazing. I love that scene. They did it so well. This movie is just so well done.
The whole like fighting up until like. When she has to leave and stuff like that, just beautiful. But
it was just rant like a little bit of a side note just for the cinephiles in us.
Jumped out.
The cinephiles jumping out right now just to say like the way that like they write this narrative structure and like the ups and downs that it takes and it's like it's kind of like waves and like they're not as strong until like it starts to get more climactic towards like the later half of the film and so like it's like they were on like such a high after they like think that they defeated this army with Avalanche and she's like saved them and everything and it's like goes from so high and he's like my respect for Ping is like you know
couldn't be better
couldn't be higher and then and like the like instant like downfall
she's
of it like
a woman
just shattering like life shattering realization
it's really
that she's
like
a woman.
Quiet too like I think you know, in terms of like the sound and stuff, like it just
there's no word spoken. He's like, oh, where's Ping? Like, let me check on Ping, and he's like,
it's a wordless exchange.
And he just like walks in, looks, and sees that like I guess he's and then she like doesn't even say anything. Oh, it's so good, it's so good,
so good.
Whoo, sends chills down my spine.
Yeah, that reveal is so good.
Yeah, and like it's just crazy to think about like what he went through, like what was in his mind, especially because.
Because he doesn't even have words for it. He's, like, speechless. He's
and yeah, and it's a bit...
A life for a life.
Oh, my God.
That's the only thing he
my
says.
Debt is paid. But...
Sorry, I'm interrupting you.
No, it's fine. Like, the whole concept of, like, women in their place... in their own context is so strong that like coming from a 21st century perspective it's a bit hard to really like wrap your brain around how like diminished women were in the society to the point where they're like it's so wrong and so illegal for a woman to impersonate a man that she's going to be executed on the spot. She's crazy.
Such a threat. She has to be like, eliminated.
Everyone has the right to kill her right then because she's a woman in the army. And like so that's obviously, like, in everyone's minds, like, everyone still believes that because no one knew she was a woman until this point.
Yeah.
So, like, there's nothing to say that they didn't fully subscribe to this belief that like women
Mm-hmm.
are not worthy of anything or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That like for Shang to like have such an importance placed on these roles, for him to realize that she's a woman, realize like on one hand that like he should probably kill her because like that's the law, and like
Yeah.
Chifu's like it's the law, like she must be executed, like he's just out here trolling and everyone's just
Yeah.
like shut up, like
Yeah.
no one friggin' asked
I'm like,
you
can
what
we
the law
process
is.
that Mulan's a woman first
Oh
before
my
you're
god,
just like
especially because like Mulan as Ping just like befriended everyone and she's like
Yeah.
everyone like likes her,
Yeah.
you
I
know.
mean, everyone believed her
I know.
performance and they believed
yeah.
who that person
And
was.
so like at that point they realize she's a woman, they have to, all of them, not just Shang, I guess, but like they all have to like reconcile that in their minds that like are Mulan and Ping different people?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously they're not, especially from the audience's perspective, because we see it as Mulan the whole time.
Yeah.
That it's not really
That's true.
jarring for us,
Mm-hmm.
especially because we're modern people and we're like women can be warriors too.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's interesting to think about it in that way. Like if Mulan and Ping are different people, because like
yeah.
it's still Mulan as a person performing both roles.
But it's still
And it's
her.
I mean, in the performance it's just like the performance of gender.
It's just appearance, really.
Yeah,
She doesn't seem
exactly.
to change her
No,
personality
I
at
mean
all.
it's still Mulan. Like it's
Yeah.
her befriending people
Mhm.
and interacting with
She doesn't
them.
really act any different.
No,
She
it's
just like
literally
I'm
just her like
Ping.
yeah,
And I have short
Yeah.
hair now.
just kind of like I don't know that like physicality, the I don't know the physical
yeah,
aspect and
yeah.
like yeah, I don't know.
It's kind of like what I think of like well, she obviously wasn't playing this like transgendered role, so it's like transgender people. Like if you know someone in your life who like comes out as transgender or whatever, that like
They're still the same person.
it's like they're still the same person inside, but like it's up to society to determine how they view them, because like, you know, you're a person, an individual, you can't really put yourself in any sort of box because you just are, and that's how you are to yourself. So
Mhm.
like the roles are only important to society because like you know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's like it's no wonder it's like difficult for people to have to deal with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that kind of makes me. I have a thought kind of related to that, but it's kind of like this idea that yes, Mulan, or rather that like Mulan and Ping aren't really different, and it goes beyond, or it's more complex than saying like, oh well, Mulan is like the feminine aspects and Ping is the masculine. It's like it's showing the complexity that a human really isn't just like
Yeah.
you know like one gender or another. It's really like
A spectrum.
I mean, yeah, but we all
yeah.
like have different traits to ourselves that society has deemed as like masculine and feminine. It's like
Yeah.
I'm just a person, or Mulan's just a person, but there are these
then-
qualities that are valued for different genders in different ways. You know, I don't know.
Also, it kind of speaks to the like I don't know, the uselessness of defining traits as masculine and feminine, because if
Yeah.
you're like, if anyone can have them, then what does it
Exactly.
even matter anyway? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's like bravery is a masculine trait. It's like, so if you're brave, that means you're less of a woman. Like, I don't know. It's just,
Mhm.
it's like, it's so pointless to have these like boxes like that are so rigid, because like everyone can fit on every spectrum of like
Mhm.
traits. Like, you know, it's like,
Yeah.
they're not these black and white ideas. And Mulan is definitely not a black and white person.
Exactly. Did we want to go into any lyrics like specifically?
Sure. I mean,
Or
I
if
don't know.
you had
Which
a
one do you want
thought,
to? We could start in. We can go in chronological order of the way the songs appear, because there's a number of amazing songs. The
Mhm.
lyricism, the musicality.
Yes.
Like, part of the reason why I love this movie so much is because there's other Disney movies that are good or like have good songs in them, but it's not like the entire
yeah.
creation, like the whole production is excellent. You know what I'm saying? It's like
Mhm.
every song in Mulan is really good, as opposed to
Yeah.
like
There's no
Pocahontas.
throwaway songs. You
Like
know?
Pocahontas, I can't think of any other song except Colors
No.
of the Wind. And that one's a
Yeah.
banger. I love
Yeah.
that song. It's so good. It's like they wasted all their energy on that. And then there's like
Yes.
nothing left for the rest of it. But like Mulan, they really like buckled down for
Yeah.
every
Every song has a purpose
song.
and it fits with the exact like scene that it's with. It's not just
Like
like
the
a
mood of the scene and
yeah.
the
And they all build on top of each other,
yeah.
you know.
They
Yeah.
have such good like meanings too, and like
Mhm.
not only that, like they have like good like messages. There's like a lot of like double meanings too. Like the prime
Yeah.
example is "I'll make a man out of you." It's just
Mhm.
incredibly ironic how
It's
much
so
they're
ironic.
like be a man, you and like Mulan's doing everything.
Yeah.
So it's like we're gonna make a man out of you. You need to be men,
And
and this is
Mulan's
what
like,
men do.
okay.
She's like, "Okay, I can,
I'll do everything and I'll do it better than all you, by the way.
yeah."
Um,
So I guess yeah, we can talk about that song, "I'll Make a Man Out of You."
okay.
I just love that song so much. It hypes me up.
Yeah, and I think the way they kind of define masculinity in this and this like concept of hyper masculinity attached to being like a warrior and being in war and stuff, like the masculinity of violence and war, like that's really
Yeah.
highlighted well in this song. So
The third line of this song, starting off so good. He says, "Did they send me daughters when I asked for sons?" It's like, yes,
oh,
they did.
they did.
Oh, they did.
Yeah.
But like obviously he means like, oh, because you're all wimps and stuff.
Yeah.
But like, it's like, yeah, they sent you daughters or a daughter. But like, she's just as good as every other man. So like,
exactly.
Just a load of crap.
You're a spineless, pale, pathetic lot.
And you haven't got a clue.
It's funny because like the pale, pathetic lot is just interesting because I think in Honor to Us All, like being pale is like a trait that you want as a woman because you're like beautiful and stuff.
Yeah, and like in like Asian cultures, like having like the pale skin, and like when she puts the makeup on, she has like her white makeup, and she like wipes it off with her skin.
It's just interesting how like different qualities in these different contexts are either like positive or negative, which is kind of like
Yeah, that's true. I didn't really think of it that way.
Yeah.
Like being pale as a woman is valued, but being pale as a man is devalued for the same exact reason that it's valued for women, because it's a womanly like the layers
of meaning. But yeah, that's just like one example.
Also, I like the line "tranquil as a forest but on fire within," because it's like kind of this like your inner self is like hidden from like you have this like self-control, but it also could speak to like how Mulan has like she's hiding her identity, and she has like she works so hard on this outward appearance, tranquil as a forest, but like she has this like passion inside, and she has like a purpose.
Wow.
Once you find your center, you are sure to win. Like once she like reconciles like who she is with like her duty, then she's gonna win. She's gonna succeed.
If you say it like that, it makes it obnoxious.
Oh my god.
Okay. Must be swift as a coursing river, with all the force of a great typhoon.
Be a man
with all the strength of a raging fire, mysterious as the dark side of the moon.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Line. I like that line.
Yes. Can we go into it just a little bit? I kind of want to deconstruct
let's
it
hear
a little. I don't know. I don't have any specific thoughts, but it's just kind of like fitting with this idea that like men have to be like mysterious and enigmatic for them to be attractive or like cool or something. I don't know.
Okay. I think that's interesting. I was not thinking that. I was thinking this seems like a feminine trait. This mysterious as the dark side. I mean, like first of all, the moon in a lot of cultures is heavily like attributed to like women.
Yeah.
And like mysterious
Oh.
like the moon is just like such a like feminine thing, and also because like in their like society like women have to be like like you like hide yourself, like you're not
Yeah.
you know how like women like have to be in their own sphere, and they you know
Mm-hmm.
propriety and things like that, like they have their
Yeah.
little parasols, and like you're like, oh, we can't like show ourselves to men, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And also the fact that like Mulan has to be mysterious and like not show her true
Yeah.
intentions and like her true self because she has to like lay low in
Mm-hmm.
the army. So I did not think of this as like manly at all. I thought it was just so interesting that they'd have this line.
I don't have any specific reading of this, so I really like your interpretation. I just am confused by it. For I think for the reasons you said, because it doesn't strike me as like mysterious as the dark side of the moon. Like, how is that masculine? Kind of like what you were saying.
It's interesting. Yeah, they're like being swift as a river. You have the force of a typhoon. You're strong,
Strength, yeah.
like a
It's all these
fire.
like
And then he's like
physical
mysterious.
aspects of like what you would usually
It's like
attribute to men, and then
yeah.
mysterious as the dark side of the moon. Like
It was
what?
yeah, like I wonder what they were thinking about that. Like unless they were just like moon rhymes with typhoon, but like I don't know. It's just kind of weird. Because like
I mean, intent and meaning, they're
two different things.
yeah.
But like I don't know. Mysterious, like that's not a word I'd describe a warrior. You know what I'm saying? Like in the traditional sense. But then again, you could think of it maybe like it has to do with Shang, because you know Shang's singing this song. Maybe he's like putting himself into it.
That's true.
For example, like
because Shang and his motives are kind of mysterious throughout.
I
you know.
mean, maybe. I think it's him. Like I feel like we're reading so deep into this. I'm like Shang.
You can
says
never
this,
read too deep.
Like Shang is his own person. He's separate from like the animator's creation.
Listen
But,
to
like,
me. You can never be too deep.
not in this podcast. You can't. But
yes, go on.
there's like at the end of the song, it's like nighttime, and there's like a shot of him like sitting there like looking out to like the like sunset or like the moon or something like that. And so it's like him like identifying himself with like this song. It's like this song is like his inner thoughts, or is like he's like battling with himself. He's like it's not just like I'm gonna make a man out of you. It's like him like talking to himself
make
too.
a man out of myself.
You know, he's like, I'm gonna make a
myself.
man out of you guys, but then he's like, he still has to do all this stuff too.
Yeah.
He still has to perform. So it's like he's like, I gotta be strong and I gotta be swift and have the force, but I'm also like mysterious because like I don't know how I fit in exactly, because like Shang's of it, like we don't really know what's going on in his mind all the
And
time.
he kind of like inherited this role in a way,
yeah, it's
So he's kind of trying to figure it out too.
He's going through it. He's dealing with a lot, and it's like he's struggling with his own identity, especially because like his father's dead. He has to be like the general. His army is like shattered to pieces, and then like Ping comes in and is a woman. It's just like a lot, and he's like, whoa, because it's like nothing turns out the way he expected or intended it, because he's like kind of a control freak. He's like, you guys all have to like, you guys have to man up, you have to like be like performing at your best.
He's talking to himself,
and it's like he just like wants this order and tradition and like everyone to like perform the role they're meant to, but like it all breaks down in the end. And so this is almost like it's like a precursor, like a foreshadowing in a way.
Ooh, that's cool. What was I gonna say? I think I was just, to your point about like how Shang's trying to figure it out. It's really true, because he's really just modeling like his own masculinity after his dad, and like this is his first opportunity to kind of like, I don't know, like to define his masculinity through this like leadership role, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I guess I was just thinking that it was interesting that now that his father is dead, it's like he has to figure it out through this process that even he isn't really sure what the outcome is going to be. So it's all very like, man, this is what I've been told to do and this should work out, but I don't even really know what the outcome is going to be. Like, what is it to be a man anyway? It's all mysterious to me.
No, I like that.
Yeah.
What is a man? It's a mystery.
I think there's just a few. Oh, I know. One of the, like, talking about masculinity in this song, I think, like, the rage of war and just
You're unsuited for the rage of war.
Yeah. I don't know.
Also, like the previous line, "Heed my every order and you might survive." Just wanted to
Mm-hmm.
throw that in there. It kind of
Go
like
ahead. Yes.
further bolsters my point about the roles and the
Mm-hmm.
importance of order.
Yeah. And he's like, okay, we're gonna do all this to maintain the order, but even so, like, you might just survive. Like, this might help us survive this. We might be able to kind of
Yeah.
fulfill these roles, but there's a possibility we won't, and
Yeah,
this might
like
all fall apart.
maybe because it's like you could never achieve that ideal masculinity. So it's like you'll
Mm-hmm.
just get by because you'll never be perfect. And if
Yeah.
you were perfect, then obviously you'd survive, but you're not.
Yeah.
So like,
Because you're forever going to be chasing this ideal that is
yeah,
unattainable.
always
Because
just
you,
getting
yeah.
by,
Mm-hmm.
which we all are in this society. We're just getting by, like performing our social roles. But like when you think about it, though, it's like
Yeah.
it's never ending.
Yeah.
It's always a constant performance.
Exactly.
Wow.
I think totally, not totally random, but like kind of random, but like the idea that Mulan is such a commentary on like the performance of gender and the fact that it's a musical and that's kind of a performance in and of
Wow.
itself.
Wow. Oh my god.
I don't know. It's just like a thought.
No, I love it.
Which makes me really bummed out because I think the live action one coming out is not going to be a musical,
it's
right?
not. I don't think so.
They're really destroying everything
It's
that
not
made Mulan great. I'm
It's
so
not
upset.
Mulan without the music.
It's not.
As we're trying to prove right now, which I think we're doing a decent job of, the music is so important.
Yeah.
How else are you gonna like get these ideas across?
Exactly.
Like, what better way to like see into a character's mind and their thoughts except through music? Like, if it's not
Through
like a
song,
like seriously, in like a visual performance, like as opposed to
Yeah.
like literature when you can get anything. If it's like a movie or a play or like, you know, whatever, it's so hard to convey what these characters are feeling and the layered meanings and the way the like the many ways it could be interpreted and the characterization. Like, so much of it is possible through song because through song you could say anything, but you're not like, it's not weird because songs
Yeah.
are different from dialogue, and like dialogue is
Yeah.
so like blunt. It's like there's this distinct
Yeah.
separation between like song is like that's just like you're in your mind, but like them
Yeah,
speaking to each
because
other is,
especially
like,
in
reality.
Mulan, like I don't really remember songs or like anybody's parts like singing to another person. It's kind of like everyone's singing, but it's still kind of internal, right? Because like even
Yeah.
Mulan, she's like, "Hope you didn't see right through me." Like
Yeah,
everyone's
like,
kind of
yeah.
talking.
In that song, there's like a couple
Yeah,
parts with their like their
it's like
inner monologue.
yeah, exactly.
A lot of it's, and also like reflection.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. I mean, and that can only be achieved through like music, like a musical.
yeah.
Because not everything, like the audience is aware of everything that they're thinking, whether it's public knowledge or like an internal monologue.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah, but speaking to the performance aspect, especially in this song, the visuals are really like a performance too, because this is the part where they have like, it looks like a red room, right?
At the end of "I'll Make a Man Out of You."
Yeah. Right? And it's like,
It's like it's just like this weird like artistic like
yeah.
horizon background.
Yeah. I don't know. It's so gorgeous, but I think that just lends to the whole like performance aspect of it all. But
yeah, no, I get
Yeah.
it. I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, just quickly since I mentioned it, you're unsuited for the rage of war. I think that's interesting because I feel like anger and rage and violence are kind of attributed with a hypermasculinity in a way.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that Shang is telling them you're unsuited for, because I mean it's kind of another like him calling them women, and by and like an extension of that, him calling them like weaker, and that I don't
Yeah.
know. I just really like that line. It makes me think of a lot of things, but
And then like at that point too, it's like you're unsuited for the rage of war. So it's like, but like, is that really a bad thing? Like they don't have that like rage.
exactly, because it's kind of showing that like I think it's a further commentary, like violence and war shouldn't be natural for anybody, you know?
Yeah.
Like whether you're a man or a woman or whatever, like it
just-
shouldn't be a natural thing.
Yeah,
You shouldn't
like-
be suited for that kind of violence and rage, you know?
Yeah. It says something that you have to like prepare and like work so hard at just being like presentable
Mm-hmm.
in the scope of war that like it's really not worth all that effort.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
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 How are we doing
So,
on time? We're like 50 minutes.
okay.
This has been
Enlightening.
fun.
And fun.
We probably should be ending it soon though.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much to say,
There's so much more we could talk about too.
but you know, we gotta keep it short and sweet.
Yeah, I thought it was good though. This was
Yeah,
fun.
I think we brought up some cool points. Hope you guys thought they were cool as well, and hope it kind of like
Hope it sparked
inspired
your
some
own
thoughts.
your own thoughts and perceptions.
Yeah, so
Keep a critical mind.
yeah, so next time when you watch Mulan, like see,
Yeah.
if you kind of see that social commentary
Yeah.
on like gender and the performative aspects of it and whatnot.
Yeah. And like just in general the merits of like good Disney films. Like really
Yes.
like not trying to be like that crazy like Disney fanatic or anything like that. Like I
Mhm.
honestly like want to have a critical perspective of
Yes.
Disney movies. It's like why do people like them so much? Why are they so famous? Why are they
Mhm.
so like, people like it still sticks with people. It's like there's a reason and it's because they have like good I don't know, they have
Yeah,
merits to them.
especially like this era of like Disney films and stuff. It was like they're just good movies. Like it's
Mhm.
not like, oh, it's a kids movie to explain this thing. It's like it's a good film that's complex enough that anyone can enjoy it.
Yeah.
Especially Mulan, the like visuals and the music, everything is so good. I just
Yeah.
really love it, and I know
It just
you do
it
too.
stands
So,
up to time.
for sure.
Good
It's
movie.
so ahead of its
It
time.
really is. So good.
Yeah,
Love Mulan so
so
much.
we hope you guys enjoyed this episode.
Yes. We
And
had fun making it.
yes, and we'll see you in the next one.
Yeah, stick around for further installments of our film podcast. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah, but
hit that bell. No, I'm just
We'd
kidding.
love any feedback that you have to give because we want to make this fun for everybody.
Yeah, and if you have any like movie recommendations too, that'd be fun.
Yeah,
So yeah,
we'd appreciate it. So yeah.
thank you.
Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.